outreach partners, JNTU Hyderabad and Telangana Academy for Skill and Knowledge Task. We're very happy. This is the first time we are doing it, and such an important thing. And it has hit the right scale already. And we hope it will really, really make a big difference to both industry and academia as it evolves. We all know that the industry has been growing, and despite the difficult times caused by the pandemic, industry has been growing, and this year projected to grow double digit. And that automatically means, like most of the cycles, we have seen a big shortage of trained people. They're coming from the campuses mostly. Okay. And with the digital revolution happening, again driven much faster by the pandemic than would have been in the normal times, this skills shortage is being felt very acutely. At the same time, the output coming from our campuses, while I wouldn't paint a very gloomy picture, I can see over the years, thanks to a lot of interventions, it has been improving. But that output coming out from the campuses is still not completely meeting the industry's requirements in terms of whether the ability to hit the ground running and be immediately productive. So we hope these internships, okay, where the companies and the students get together, know each other, and then become ready for that serious, corporate career. These internships act like a bridge. Talking about bridge, we today are starting the afternoon with a panel discussion. Are we bridging the gap right? So I will not steal, our industry academia forum leader Sesharav's thunder. So he'll take you through how we are doing that, why all these things matter. And we have an eminent set of panelists that will, engage you this afternoon, both from the academia side and the industry side. Okay. We have nearly 50 plus companies registered for this fair. That's a big number. I think almost 1,000 plus internships are on offer. And we have, 12,000 plus students who registered. So this is very exciting numbers. So numbers apart, thanks to our tech partner Kandura, I'm also very optimistic that this will lead to a very high quality process wherein really what comes out, the batch that comes out will be making a big impact in the industry. So that's our hope. And we also, after the panel discussion, we today have our HYSEA secretary and the COO of First Source, Prashant, will be sharing his thoughts on how HYSEA wants to take these kinds of initiatives forward. And then I also want to extend my profuse thanks to VLK, who just joined us, Lakshmikant Venkatraman from Broadridge, India, MD. He's a very passionate, the first thing I remember from my conversation with VLK is all about internships. So, nothing can be more befitting than him being the chief guest today and sharing what industry looks forward. Then they have done, Broadridge have done some very good, strides in this internship area. So we will be very keen to hear from VLK. So without taking much time, without further ado, I'll hand it over to Nirja Bag to take us through the afternoon's program. An exciting panel discussion followed by some good, speakers we listened to on the inaugural of the internship fair. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of the afternoon. Nirja, back to you.
Thank you, Srini. We have a very eminent panel today, and I will leave the privilege of introducing the panel to Shesha, but I have the privilege of introducing Shesha today. Shesha is a board member of Inside View Technologies and has been HYSEA Managing Committee member for more than a decade, leading the product forum. He has over 25 years of industry experience in US and India in senior management positions in various technology companies in social networking, market intelligence, storage, enterprise software, application software space, entrepreneurial experience, specializing in startups, building highly productive and innovative Indian design centers for MNCs. He's passionate about balance between process-oriented nature coupled with startup agility and speed. I hand it over to you, Shesha, now. For our panel on, are we bridging the gap right?
Thank you, Nirja. I'll just share my screen very quickly. Okay, do you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Nirja. Thank you, Srini. We have an eminent panel with us. Before I introduce the panel, I would like to say a few words about the topic and the panel discussion and the relevance and so on. So as Srini mentioned earlier, in spite of the pandemic, Indian industry in all domains, not only in IT industry, it's growing quite well. And especially the ITES industry is growing at a rapid pace. And it's not only the market, but also the technologies that are growing at a rapid pace. I'll quote some figures, numbers, statistics from NASSCOM, and also some numbers from the KPMG report last year. So according to NASSCOM estimates, currently we are a little under $200 billion IT industry, which 194 billion to be precise. Out of this, export industry is $150 billion and domestic is $44 billion. Now, it is supporting an employee base of close to 5 million, 4.5 million. And last year, net additions were 138,000. The projections from NASSCOM are that we are likely to reach 300 to 350 billion by 2025, which will provide an employment of between 5 lakhs to 8 lakhs new employees. And what this means to the hiring trends are all on uptick. In fact, your NASSCOM says that we are seeing the growth in metros 15%, and tier 2 cities is growing even faster. Of course, it's from a lower base. It's growing at 23%. These are the hiring trends. Now, primarily, majority of the growth is from the experience band of 0 to 3 years, which is supposed to be estimated at 22%. So it means there is a lot of opportunity for our fresh graduates. Now coming to the state of Telangana, there is a last year report done by KPMG, and they have estimated around 550,000 employees. And there are hundreds of colleges, 472 colleges, just in Hyderabad alone. Of course, not just engineering colleges, but Telangana has lots of universities, and JNTU itself has 240 colleges. The Honorable Rector, who is with us today, he is responsible for, he's taking care of these 240 colleges. So we'll hear a lot more insights from him. Now, so the bottom line is Indian industry is growing in all domains in spite of pandemic. And the technologies that are changing every year, the acceleration of the technologies itself is accelerating. So because of this technology acceleration, industry itself is trying to catch up with the technologies. And so industry is running very, very quickly. And that is causing the gap between industry and academia to grow wider and wider. And now we all feel the effect, we meaning the industry as well as academia, both parties will feel the effects of this widening gap. It is not only employability. Employability is always a challenge. We have been trying to address that, but it is also causing a pain for several stakeholders. It is causing a pain to the organizations. It is causing a pain to the students. It is causing a pain to parents, and it's putting a lot of pressure on academia. So you see this gap that is widening. You see it across all stakeholders. Organizations, because of a lack of employability or poor employability, they have to choose from a small set of pool of employees, which means the salaries will go up, the cost of trainings go up, attrition goes up. So these are all the effects that are being seen by the industry. Now, of course, on the academia side, academia is trying to churn out the students that are employable. And the expectations from the students and parents, they're not being met, because they all expect that, okay, my son has become an engineering graduate and he has to find a job. He doesn't. So this gap is having multifaceted, creating multifaceted challenges to all the stakeholders. So that's the panel discussion. How are we bridging this gap? And what is it that the companies and the organizations and the academia trying to accomplish? How do we bridge this gap? How do we work together? Because it's a common goal. So that's the topic I would like to address today. And we have an expert panel from all walks of the industry. We have on this panel a great esteemed panelists. We have 2 from the industry and 2 from the academia. And unfortunately, Dr. Srikanth Sinha, CEO of Task, who belongs on both sides of the equation, both industry as well as academia, he is unwell. Today, unfortunately, he was not able to make it. He sent me a message. We miss you, sir, but we'll try to take this forward. I would like to introduce the first panelist, Manisha Sabu. She is Associate Vice President and Delivery Head at Infosys, responsible for delivery of software testing projects for financial services clients of Infosys across Europe, Asia, and Oceania. She's passionate about enabling her clients reinvent software testing organizations that support and accelerate their digital transformation. She has successfully implemented distributed agile and spearheaded dev test ops adoption by large organizations. She is head of Infosys campus at Pocharam. As a woman leader, Manisha is committed to helping other women build their careers, whether it is inspiring young girl students to pursue a career, or enabling young women returning to work, or guiding mid-level managers with career aspirations. She addresses several girls' engineering colleges and motivated many students. She was honored by the Telangana government with the Women Achiever Award for Leadership in the Corporate World. Manisha, welcome to the panel. Welcome aboard. Let me see. Hi, Manisha. Okay, so second esteemed panelist is Vinay Agarwal, who is also on the screen today. He's a global head of business HR at Tech Mahindra. He's leading the HR business partner function for the IT business of Tech Mahindra globally, and he's also leading the region HR. He's also the region HR for all geographies other than North America and Europe. Prior to this role, he led the delivery excellence, Six Sigma, CMMI, and other models for more than a decade. Prior to this, he was also at Tech Mahindra, head of regional HR, rest of the world, and he was also head of business operations, enterprise idea. Before Tech Mahindra, he served Bank of America, and he also led technology-focused audits and reviews, and he was also vice president of quality and change delivery of technology. Okay, welcome, Vinay. We are honored to have you on the panel. The next panelist, Dr. Govardhan. Dr. Govardhan is a rector for JNTU, Jawaharlal Nehru Technological University, Hyderabad, and is a professor of computer science and engineering. He served and held several academic and administrative positions, including registrar, principal, director of School of IT, School of Information Technology, and director of evaluation. And he had sported several hats at JNTH. He's also the chairman and member of boards of studies and also students advisor. He did his bachelor's in computer science from Usmania University, and master's from JNU, New Delhi, and PhD from JNTU, Hyderabad. He is the recipient of 33 international and national awards. I mean, I have a big list. you have so much of a big list, sir. It takes a long time to read all through, but I'll read some of them. Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Excellency Award, and Best Senior Scientist Award, and Devang Mehta Academic Leadership Award, and AP State Government Best Teacher Award, and many more outstanding.
Okay, you can be brief.
Achievements and contributions and meritorious services. A lot of them, sir. It takes a long time to go through your accomplishments. We are honored to have you, sir, on the panel here. And the fourth panelist is Prakash, Veera Prakash Yalla. He is the head of technology transfer and product labs of IIIT Hyderabad. And he is also the founding member of UKER, which is pioneering end user computing with an easy to use do-it-yourself cloud-based toolset. And prior to this, Prakash was vice president R&D of ACME Telepower Limited, where he was responsible for new product development in the space of green energy solutions for telecom, buildings, and defense. And earlier, he was director of advanced technology and emerging markets in Honeywell. So, Prakash, I don't see your video. Prakash, are you there? Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Very good. We are very honored to have you, Prakash, on the panel. Thank you so much for, and I welcome all the panelists for an engaging panel discussion. And I would like to ask a few questions where I'll stop my screen. Maybe I'll leave my screen. So basically, I would like to have the discussion centered around how we can achieve this common goal of bridging the gap. That will be the overall theme. And but I would like to start off with a question that is primarily in the minds of many students, DPOs. We have hundreds of people who are attending this session. So what do you think in the context of, let's talk about a very tactical topic here regarding the students, right? What are the expectations of the students from the industry side? The industry leaders, maybe Manisha and Vinay can talk about that. And then later on, I'll switch the same question to academicians, Dr. Govardhan and Prakash, to answer the same question. So what are the expectations that industry should have? And what are the expectations that student must have from the organization? So Vinay and Manisha, you go first, and then I'll have Govardhan and Dr. Govardhan and Prakash go next.
Go ahead, please.
Okay. So when it comes to what is it that the industry expects from students, I would say the industry expects the students to take up whatever best that they can do in the given situations. If, what I mean by that is that if the student is coming in with a big wish list that I'll work only in this technology, I want to do only this kind of project, this is what I expect, then it becomes very difficult for the student also to make the most of the opportunity, and for the industry also to give the kind of opportunity that the student is looking for. What will work beautifully is the student should come with an open mind to make the most of their time during internship. So whatever comes their way, take it up and do your best. Don't try to evaluate the work based on which technology is it? Is it a big project? Which client am I working for? Am I working for a client, or I'm doing an internal project? So instead of evaluating the work given, take every work that is possible and deliver to the best of your abilities.
No.
What is it? Shesha, is there something you're trying to say? Okay. So the first thing is come with an open mind and do whatever comes your way, and don't wait for somebody to give you work necessarily, because it's not always that we have the work or the project which we have identified will be perfectly designed, or there will be some mentor for you who is there 24/7 for you. This may not happen. So what happens is that create a network, be open-minded and talk to different people, and wherever anybody needs help, if you can pitch in with the best of your abilities, that will help you in a big way, because it is about getting to understand how people work in office, what kind of environment is there, and what type of work happens, how do people collaborate. These are also very important aspects. So my from the industry perspective, the expectations that industry has it, the students will come with an open mind, and they will take up any work that comes their way without waiting for defined work and defined mentor and everything being perfectly shaped for them. Vinay, you can add.
So as Manisha made a very profound point. So a couple of points I want to make is that the first thing industry expects people who can be readily deployed to the commercial projects or customer projects. So one thing, of course, the relevant courses knowledge. So if it's a cybersecurity or IT or cloud, so whichever basically one of the so-called hot skills students should be trained. And second thing is that so training may not be sufficient. So some kind of practical exposure, practical work on it, few technologies or one or two technologies that are of most interest to a student. They should do that. So that will probably make you in the industry to be deployed fairly soon. So I think there's a big shift in last few years is that the companies are no more basically ready to take the freshers from the college and run a 6-month training program and then deploy them. So that basically has changed. Now the good news is that from curriculum perspective, first of all, I think the curriculum perspective, a lot of colleges basically have really adopted this new skills and new age skills or digital skills. So that has improved. And the other thing is that the whole, I think, IT education has become so democratic with so many MOOCs coming up. So even if probably some courses not there in the curriculum, students have a choice to do it on their own online. So, so that gap is basically, I would say, not very difficult to overcome. If some interesting courses are not part of curriculum, do that online. The second part is that demonstration of the proficiency. So that was also a problem. You might have done a course and sometimes you get a good grade also, but still not be that confident. So that I think problems also solved. There are platforms where you can go through a certification test and demonstrate your proficiency to a certain extent. So this was a problem. Now it is solved, and it is up to students to pick up those certifications to say, okay, yes, there's certain credibility of the certification on these technologies they've done. The third point is that application of the knowledge. So there are various ways, various opportunities, various ways to do that. So I would suggest that if students can do that, and internship is the most common way of doing it. So through internship, you can basically get an option to apply your knowledge, do some hands-on work, and with that, I think basically the confidence of employer to take you would be very high. And as Sesha said in the beginning, that there's no better time than now, right? So last year, for example, there was a blip, and there was employment was slightly difficult. But this year, suddenly things have really boomed. I think maybe the requirement for IT consumption has gone up globally. So the hiring is at a very, I think, big momentum. Every company has big plans. Cognizant talked about 1 lakh people hiring. TCS is hiring. Tech Mahindra is hiring. So there's and the intake of the fresher this year is going to be phenomenal. So I would say people passing out now are really very lucky. Excellent timing. But just prepare yourself with 2-3 things that I mentioned, and I think you should really face much difficulty. Sesha is hand over to you. You're mute, Sesha.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I unmuted myself. Thank you, Manisha and Vinay, for your insights. I would turn it over to the academicians. Dr. Govardhan, sir, in your opinion, how should these students, the new age students, plan their career? What are the expectations of them from the industry? Maybe some insights from you, and then Prakash.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Shesha. So when we look at from the industrial inputs taken and looking from the academic perspective, basically when students come from the +2 education, basically there is a different modes of learning that we have till +2. But the moment they gets into the higher education, like this professional education, naturally there is a transit time that is required for them to have the adaptation of the higher education. More of besides the classroom teaching, self-learning mode. So as rightly mentioned by Mr. Vinay, there are a number of new changes are coming in the teaching learning practices, and also a number of MOOCs are also being in the process, and the entire landscape of this education system is also under transformation. So naturally, new modes of teaching learning processes are coming. So from that perspective, students are also being trained, and there is a mindset change among the students. But what is essentially, from the students' perspective is that they have to strike a balance between the technical skills and the soft skills, behavioral skills, and other skill stuff. So though every year or once in a while there are a number of reports being generated by NASCOM or other HYSEA or a number of other professional bodies and industry representations, wherein they mention that this is the skill set, required, and these are the technologies where you find employment opportunities. So what is essentially required from the students' perspective is that though we train them, we mentor them in terms of as Ms. Manisha mentioned, adaptation, like their readiness to take up any job given an opportunity, given the time. This open-minded learning, anywhere, anytime learning, and the lifelong learning skills. This philosophy should come from the student's point of view. So we have been doing that. However, it may still take, because in the first and second years, it becomes very difficult for them to understand this philosophy. But the moment they get into third year and when they come to the fourth year, first semester, because of the needs of the employment and other responsibilities that they take up, so then the mindset is changed. So we are trying to actually inculcate such culture right from the first year, from the day one that they take up this employee education. We are also giving number of other skill set, because the AICT has come up with a model curriculum which also includes number of other activities beyond classroom teaching learning. So obviously those things are helping the students to adapt themselves to the current scenario and trends of new trends of teaching learning. But the one important aspect is that from the industrial perspective, practical exposure. The practical exposure, besides the their learning in the classroom and also the laboratories that they have. So if the extended support given by the industry and other professional bodies in terms of the internships, so I think that would definitely help the students to further strengthen their skill set. So this is my opinion from the point of view of this employment and first phase of learning stage.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for your insights and the comments. Prakash, you'd like to take a stab at this question? How should the student?
Sure. So I would like to start off telling that luck smiles on the prepared mind. So that's the fundamental thing I would want the students to take away, because you are in an academic setting. You are what you are imparted are broad skills. A lot of foundations are laid for you. Now you are going into the real world, where things could be significantly different from what you have experienced in a college setting. So to get there, you can't just land up in the job and say someone is going to take care of everything for you. So because there are other things, there are other priorities. When you get in there, your manager is busy something else, someone else is learning something else. They are in their own world. So how do you go and fit into that? So fit into that, you have to prepare yourself before you land up there. So it could be participating in hackathons, participating in a lot of industry events that happen prior to go to industry. How you step out of your college, and how you engage in some of these forums, how you meet up some people before you step up there is very, very important, because you can't be in a cocoon and then you suddenly say, oh my God, I got to expose something else. I'm not ready to do this. That's one thing that I would say, preparedness. Second one is you have spent 4 years in college. By the time you should have, I know adults who are my age who don't have clarity in what they want in life, but I think you are much smarter kids who have the new generation. You know a lot of things. I hope you have a lot of clarity. So you should at least have some clarity in what you really want to go before you land up at an interview. Before you land, you should have done enough study about the company before you join them. Don't land up somewhere and say, no, this is not what I expected. Infosys does what Infosys does. Wipro does what Wipro does, and what Microsoft does. So you should. Yeah, I know a lot of you may end up in some careers because you just had to attend your placement officer has put you in an interview. You have to clear that interview. You got in there, but having a bit of clarity on what you really want to do will ease out a lot of stress for your hiring manager and also for yourself. Because I see a lot of students who join and say, no, this is not what I expected, so I want to come back. I want to. So this first 6 month attritions are very, very high. So you need to. So if you have that clarity, and life becomes easy for everyone. The third one is when you get in there into the industry, you're going to solve real life problems. And when you're solving real life problems, means that your empathy for real life problems should have been built when you are in college. So that means your understanding of real life problems. What are these problems? Because this nobody is going to teach you. You are in the college, you are making observations. I think your skills of making observations of what is happening around you and seeing how do you solve this problem, because you have technology today. As when I said, technology is available to you through different courses. There is a lot of open source out there. There are a lot of ready-made tools out there. So a lot of things can be put together on your own and solve some real life problems even before you go out there. You see, the moment you do that, you end up in an industrial environment, a much stronger person who has that knowledge of how to solve problems. So you're going, because you're as an engineer, I think we solve problems. At the end of the day, we're going out there and solving real problems. So having that empathy for real problems is very important. You can build that. You don't have, even a 12th standard student can build that. So it's just that, are you opening up yourself to real life problems? So these are the three things that I would like for the students to take away before they land up, before they enter a professional setting. And you look at your profession when you're getting in there, look at it in a holistic way. You are not just an engineer who's solving problems, so I'm contradicting myself. You are also a social being who's working with a bunch of people out there. You are a customer facing person who is working with someone who's demanding some work from you. So some of these things one can build prior to going there, because you work in teams as but I think you need to be prepared that you're not an individual contributor. You're going to work in a microcosm of society in a company. That's something that I would like all of you to keep in mind. And the industry also, expectation from industry, I would say, instead of approaching the academia as give me a few bunch of warm bodies, and then I would engage with, because I see two tracks of engagement that happens. And these are disjoint tracks. One track of engagement is for hiring purpose, wherein you say mostly, I want to come and do my branding, get me some warm bodies, and here is I sell about my company, give me a bunch of people. The second track that opens is the engineering teams come to some of the research universities like us. I want to do some projects with you, and then here is what I want this output. But if you look at it, there are a spectrum of things that can, what I'd like to put something, close friends are people who do many things together. And industry academia can be very close friends. We do many things together. One is, it could be, we can solve social problems together. And you can guide our students to solve some social problems. You can, and you can do it any college. It need not be a research institution. You can, there are certain courses in computer science and engineering, which only, what we feel is only industry can teach. For example, software engineering, best taught by industry than in academia themselves. So there are a lot of multiple points of engagement that can happen. Because I also wear the hat of, I worked in the industry for many years. I will just quote one example before because I set up a research center in Honeywell, and then I had to get some of the best talent, and I got my best talent from IIT Mumbai and ISC, not because I spent, I was not the first in the list of hiring, because Microsofts and GEs were paying tons and tons of money. But I was doing a lot of work with a couple of professors in my area of interest, and these professors used to tell me much before the campus placements happened, telling me, Prakash, these two guys are really good. I think you should take them to Honeywell, because Microsoft is going to come and pay 10 times the salary that you guys in Honeywell can pay. And I got some of the best talent because of the engagement that I had. And those engagements are very important. So I would like to stop here.
Thank you, Prakash. Really appreciate your inputs. So going forward, I would like to switch the gears a little bit. So far, we talked about the student and the expectations and so on. I would like to focus on the process as well. So the gap exists not only in the skills, the technology, and but also the process that we follow. For example, the hiring processes, the campus hiring processes, or the recruitment processes being followed in the industry is also transforming. And the colleges, the universities are also used to one type of process. Now, there could be a gap that can exist between these two as well. So now we'll switch the focus from students to the TPOs and the HRs that we have on the on the audience. We have three types of audience, right? We have HR leaders, CEOs, and we have TPOs, the training and placement officers, and the students. So since we talked about students, right now I would like to talk about the other parts of the audience. So, and also I would appreciate your inputs to be given 1 minute each, because I would like to talk to all four of the panelists. So in the subsequent questions, I would like to urge all of you to take 1 minute, not more than that. So question for Vinay and Manisha, how do you envision the campus hiring process going forward? We know that in the current scenario, the campus hiring is, the day 1, day 2, day 3 slots and so on, and then compete for the first day slots by the companies, and then some companies are disappointed because they are not getting the first day slot and so on. Whereas the TPO's challenge is, how can I accommodate all the companies on the day 1 slot? So these are all the frictions that have been happening between the HRs and the TPOs. So going forward, do you envision any change in this campus hiring process?
Vinay, I would like you to take this first.
Okay, sure. So one change which we have witnessed is, or rather two trends I would say. So one is hackathon-based hiring. So this is something I know few companies who do hire only through hackathon. And the second trend I'm seeing is that this is something I think pandemic has accelerated, and it may endure even after pandemic, is a national level. So for example, what Tech Mahindra, what we did, we had a fresher hiring program nationwide, and we basically opened a, so of course various campuses we have relationship with the TPO, so that communication does happen, that we would like your students to participate. We are opening this program on this date, etc. So national level is completely open source, kind of anybody can basically register for that and go through that. So the point, I think, from student perspective, there's a something important they can take away is that, so why hackathon, right? Because hackathon, the whole format is that you get a problem, you have a limited time resource, you have a limited resource in terms of basically you want to make teams, etc. You can make teams, and in limited time you come up with something. So you understand the problem, so your analytical skills, your team skills, how do you work in a team to come up with some solution in a given time. So it is it tests multiple skills, not only just the coding skills. So this is, I think, big change, hackathon based. And second thing is open source, where basically this concept of day 1, day 2 of, I'm sure that in some shape and form it may still continue, but I think there's open source, and having a 4 or 5 days window where they say, okay, all colleges across the nation, they have this window available. So that might both these things probably can go forward.
Manisha?
Okay, adding on to what Vinay said, I look at when I look at the landscape of campus hiring, I observe 3 trends, new trends, or the changes which are emerging. First is moving from campus-based to the individual. What it means is that the hiring for freshers used to be done only based on a particular college or a list of colleges that the organization would go and interview day 0, day 1 and take them. And now we are moving away from that, and we are saying there is an app for, like, at least I'm sharing my Infosys experience. We have launched an app, and it depends on, gradually we will go to the level where any student can apply. And if the student is good, we will consider. It will not be based on which college you are coming from and whether Infosys is going to that college for the campus hiring. So it is moving away from campuses to the individuals gradually. The second change which I see in the fresher hiring is related to shortlisting that used to happen in past was marks based. How many marks do you have? What class do you have? And based on that we filter. Now we will move towards which are the certifications have you done? Which are the hackathons have you attended? What is your what is your experience, or what is the enthusiasm, or what is the hands-on experience you've tried in last 4 years or last 3 years of being in college? So it will move from marks-based to skill-based. Third thing that I am observing a trend is it's no longer give and take. It's not like campus and organization. Gradually, these two are coming together as a united front because ultimately India needs talent. We need the people. We need the people who are extremely talented, and we can't say, okay, college, you do this, and then we will take over from here. Instead of that, we are working together. There's lots of collaboration happening. We are working with lots of colleges, telling them what should be the optional subjects. We are helping them to design the curriculum, and not just that, we are training the teachers, all this collaboration, and it doesn't end there. We are also talking to the students way ahead, telling them what are we looking for. We are doing open seminars, anybody can attend, and we are telling them how can they prepare for job in Infosys. So there are lots of new trends which are coming up, and it is very important for students to be aware of it and tuned to it, because over a period of time, they will see the whole scenario changing and the student taking primary seat.
Absolutely. Thank you. These are profound changes that are happening in the industry. As both the industry veterans have mentioned, we also need to see how the other side of the equation is responding. Dr. Govardhan, your response, please, for the marks based to hackathons based or certification based, or campus college based versus individual. So when these changes are coming out from the industry, how do you think the colleges should respond, sir? Dr. Govardhan. Dr. Govardhan? Okay, Prakash, you want to take it up? I'll just reach out to Dr. Govardhan.
Yeah, I think, yeah, I agree with the trend that is emerging. I see a lot happening through hackathons, and there's a lot of, if you look at it, most of this is done by the design people, but the engineers don't do that. On Behance, they have this portfolio, right? So I think almost everyone is looking for the portfolio of what has the student has done in his portfolio. Has it done developed some apps? Has it done some certifications? And as it participated in some hackathons, so that the portfolio looking for portfolios became important. The second one I'm also seeing is a lot of, because I also hire in another role, I hire engineers. We see a lot of people giving case study based assignments. Like before, one is hackathon, or you give a case study and say, now how would you solve this problem? It could be you give a scenario and ask someone to solve, or you give a scenario and ask them to write code for it. It could be based on what your needs are. So all these are new things that are happening. And thanks to I don't know whether they can curse the pandemic, but a lot of things are happening online. So people are subscribing to some platforms where the first level of screening happening through some kind of online test or startups who are having this. And also some people are looking at have you engaged, have you worked during your tenure as a student, have you worked with startups or have you done some projects with startups? All those things are being looked at. So as an academic institutions, we need to create this, we need to help students create this portfolio, because I see a lot of students have done this, but it's not put in a way that an industry can understand. A person who needs to really dig through and find out what he has may make the discovery that much more easy. So I think as we could do some things where discovery of those good students becomes that much more visible. At the same time, we also need to, for example, I'll give one example of what we do in IIIT, which takes students in that direction. Is in the second year, they do something called a DAS program. A DAS program is a software engineering program, wherein we open it up for anyone in the industry to give their tell that I need this software solution to build, I need this product to build. And in a semester, the students work with the industry, go ahead and build that product. So that's basically building a real product during one semester, and then getting them ready for the real world out there. So we need to create more such experience-based practice-based environments in colleges, so that when the industry starts looking for these kind of things, the portfolio of the student is kind of comprehensive and ready for consumption by the industry, if you can use the word consumption.
Sure. Thank you, Prakash. Let me see. Sir, Dr. Govardhan, are you back? You're muted, sir. Okay. So I would like to open up some questions from the audience, specifically some TPOs. I'm really interested in hearing the views of some TPOs from the audience, especially these changes, such as the 2 points Manisha and Vinay has mentioned, hackathon-based hiring, and also the strategy of going from campus to individual. These are the 2 major changes I'm thinking that are going to have an effect on the TPOs and the students. So are there any questions from the audience, specifically from the TPOs? Neerja, are you able to check the chat box?
I think Manisha has already answered one. I mean, they want to ask if IT organizations are open to taking students from all engineering streams. I think Manisha has answered that question already.
Okay.
But Vinay, you want to take it from Tech Mahindra? Do you accept students from all streams, or are you only looking at computer science?
Yeah, no, I think all streams.
Okay.
Very good, very good. So maybe this is a question for all of you, all 3 of you. Dr. Govardhan is still muted. How do you think, from your side, you feel that the curriculum should change in the academic institutions to some of the requirements that are aligned to the industry needs? That's a question for the industry. And Prakash, what do you think the industry, the academics should be responding to in terms of changing the curriculum to align with the industry needs? Manisha and Vinay first.
Yeah. So, would you mind repeating the question? Sorry.
Oh, in terms of aligning the curriculum to the industry demands.
Yeah. So I would say, in terms of the curriculum, the digital transformation globally is one single trend which is driving the huge demand. So digital transformation has to be kind of seen from totality perspective. That on digital transformation, if I put very simply, it is companies want to engage with their customers and the potential customers one-on-one. So how do you understand your customer? How do you engage with them? This is what, in simple terms, I can say without using jargon, is a digital transformation. So that should be basically, so curriculum should recognize that this is what is driving the demand. That's number 1. Number 2 is I think the whole curriculum should be more practice-based, right? So, so it could be part of the courses, or it could be maybe, basically depending on what courses are taken in semester, if there some project which applies multiple of those courses, really knowledge. So application is very important, and I would say it's not difficult to now that the vibrant startup ecosystem that we have, right? So basically, all of us probably know some startup company in our social circle. So that kind of access we have, and when you talk to such guys who take risk, picking up some problem, social problem, business problem, trying to work on that. So I think that is stimulation. Maybe, I don't know, whether having some startup fair, or inviting some startups to change that mindset and saying that how students can be really energized to pick up a problem and make an attempt to solve the problem, turn some solution. That mindset of problem solving, how it can be imbibed in the curriculum, if it can be, I think that really transforms. And that's what probably the whole industry needs.
Actually, Vinay, you covered the most important points, and I hope that students take and the academia takes it seriously and acts on it. In addition to that, what I have observed is that the students are focused only on the technical. Many times they feel that if I know Java and I need to know Java or a language and things like that, the big part of success in the industry and the real job depends on their soft skills, and especially communication skills. I hope there is a focus given on the communication skills, teamwork, because in office, when you're working on a project, it's not just me, myself. It's lots about others and empathy and helping others and going out of the way to do whatever best you can do without worrying about what is my role, should I do this, why should I do this. So the success depends on communication and the teamwork, and these are the things which only colleges can give the students in the initial period when they are shaping the personality of the individual. One more thing which is extremely important, which Vinay mentioned as problem solving skill, I will put it slightly differently as innovation, right brain thinking, lateral thinking. I feel that there should be immense focus given on the innovation aspect or right brain thinking aspect of a person's ability or the student's ability, because that is going to differentiate the individual from the herd or the followers from the leaders. And if that is not on agenda, or if that is not on their top of the mind, the candidate or the employee will end up becoming a me too, or give me the work, I'll do it. Whatever work is given, I'll deliver. So that is going to be very difficult situation, not just for the individual and the organization, but India as a country. I feel we need to increase our innovation quotient, and we need to imbibe it from day zero when the person or the student joins college.
Very good point, Manisha. I think both the points that mentioned by both of you are very, very important points in terms of applying the knowledge that is learned, as Vinay alluded to, in terms of practice-based curriculum, and the soft skills that you're talking about in terms of differentiate yourself from the follower and the leader. Very important aspects. So now, in terms of aligning the curriculum and in terms of digital transformation, Prakash, what do you think the academic institutions should be doing in general, and IIIT in particular, in terms of aligning the curriculum, how technology is being deployed in the universities to cause the digital transformation?
Okay, so coming to the curriculum part, I said to a large extent, I think most of the universities, over the years, it has more or less come, it's pretty much there. But I feel the curriculum, when I say curriculum per se, the syllabus per se, the excessive focus on that is a bit overrated. The focus, I believe, should be on how you deliver the curriculum, because the delivery and how you shape the fundamentals of the students is very important than the syllabus per se. If you look at it, you beat it here and there, it's more or less the same. I think maybe today on one point there's Java, some point there's Python, but those are just some basic tools, but the fundamentals still remain the same. So all those fundamentals, how do you deliver? For example, I'll take the Ripedi example, and one is a DAS example that I given, right? So there's a particular semester in software engineering where the students are actually working on with an industry guy who was given the problem, and they're actually doing they're working on the syllabus. So there's a nice bridge that has happened there. The second aspect I have seen is at least last year we have run an entire course on software engineering, run by a couple of engineers from Amazon. The entire course was run by them, and we were just enablers for them. So what happens is the syllabus didn't change, but the way they delivered it, how you solve, how software engineering comes into play in real life in Amazon was right in front of the students' eyes. And when they left, when they finished the course, they're a lot more clearer when they went. So these are those things that we need to put in place, the delivery mechanisms. The third course I take is technology product entrepreneurship. That is one course me and Professor Ramesh take together. This is a course where it pulls everything together for a lot of students, wherein they actually try to build a company based on the technology that is there in their own lab. So here they learn about design thinking, they learn about understanding the market, how to solve a problem. So these are some things like solve, as Vinay also pointed out, problem solving is one important thing. I think we need to bring that out. So through a good delivery mechanism and through a bunch of coursework, which allows some of these engagements to happen, will create that necessary transition of students to the industry. That's something that I need. And to make some of these things happen from a digital transformation point of view, I think of course, a lot of colleges are doing, we're also doing a lot of course, a lot of learning has become online now. So the whole pedagogy, I think we need to almost every college cannot deliver learning. The same old pedagogy must have followed in offline courses. So there are a bunch of online videos created by IIIT based on our experience of doing this online teaching, and we created something called online pedagogy because the stress levels are completely different. The student attention is completely different when it comes to online courses. So some of those things, one needs some of those new tools of online learning has to be adopted, because that's going to stay for a very long time. Whether they come back to campus or wherever it is, I think the online learning is going to be there when they go back to work also. That's something that needs to be worked upon. And a lot of tools for evaluating students, automatic evaluation. So some of those things, at least in one of our labs, we're using AI-based tools to automatically evaluate some of the exams students have done. So what is happening is the basic evaluation the tools are doing, the professor is focusing on the nuances that the student needs to focus on with one-on-one engagement. Otherwise, once an exam is written, when the professor is spending a lot of time evaluating the paper manually, the time is gone in that he's not spending time with the student. Look, this is where you need to improve. So there, some of the tools come into play, and some startups are building tools for automated evaluation of answer sheets and stuff like that. I think this technology is
Conjura is one such example. You have Shashank on the line. So they have pioneered the concept of a leaderboard and automatic evaluation, the assignments, the assessment, and then the selection. In fact, we have conducted this. We are conducting this internship fair with the Conjura platform, which is exactly doing what you are saying.
Yeah, those tools people should start adopting it.
Yes, those are the future for us. In the interest of time, I would like to see if there are any questions, Nirja, from the audience.
Actually, there's one question from Manisha. They want to know what is this app that is provided by Infosys where any student can register. Do you have any details, or you can share it offline?
Just search for InfiTQ app. InfiTQ.
Okay, InfiTQ app.
No, it's available on Android.
Okay.
There is any other question?
Yeah, there's one more question, but I think it requires a lot of time. How national education policy will change the skill sector? I mean, that's a very open question.
Yeah, it's a very open question. And the topic that we are talking about is how companies, organizations, and industry can work together. I think NEP is a very good step forward, and it's kind of the curriculum that is being designed by them. It may be a little out of scope from this discussion, but I would leave it to the panelists if any one of you want to answer that. Otherwise, we can move to the next question. Okay. All right.
There's one more question. I know a lot of you have stressed on the fact hackathons and internships and all. There's a question from one student. He says that I have backlogs. Will I be considered? But I have participated in a lot of internships and hackathons and all.
It's possible, but not guaranteed. I mean, if you are a Bill Gates, certainly will be. But I would let the panelists answer.
No, I think that is absolutely fine. If there are other credentials which are very powerful, no problem.
Excellent. That's very, very encouraging. Very encouraging response from you, because there are many bright students, very bright students who may have backlogs for various reasons. But if you are able to compensate by others, that certainly is a great asset. However, whoever raised that question, that student, please ensure that you have no backlogs. Yes, you need to become a graduate. Yes, in theory, there may be some startups that might be interested in you, even if you have backlogs. But I have seen majority of the companies would want a proper degree that that they all look for. So I think it's very important for you to not have any backlogs. Okay. Any other questions, Nirja? Should I go?
Generally, they're asking if they're in first year, are they still eligible for internship?
Generally, they're probably not. But there may be internships available to them from different types of companies. I'm not aware of any internships for first year unless it's a small company. Manisha, what do you think?
Hello.
Manisha, the question is, if I'm in the first year, is there a possibility of me getting an internship?
At least as of now, what I see typically is that the students from third year take the internship. But at the same time, I remember when my daughter was in first year engineering, I did try to get an internship for her, but it was in a small organization, and she was just doing like documentation and checking the documentation, English, etc. But I think it helped her to understand the environment in the office, how do people work, discipline of timings, etc. So at the first year level, any kind of work that you can get in any office, you should be able to take it up. But it may not be like 3 months of programming or very systematic the way it is typically there after third year.
Yeah, so it's more of an exception than a norm.
Yes, it is more of an exception, but we should encourage if there is any student who want to do it, maybe in a smaller business organization, smaller office.
Yeah,
that also is good instead of not doing anything.
Yes, absolutely. In the interest of time, I would like to ask one last question to all of you, maybe limited to 30 seconds. How do you think the industry, academia, and the government should collaborate to address this gap?
I would say let's do a lot of things together.
Internship is the way to go. Yeah, internship is the way to go, and do it sincerely so that some hands-on knowledge comes. I think that will really help.
Okay, Manisha.
I think it will be important that all the three frequently interact the way we are interacting right now, and we can also create an environment where there is a continuous flow of information between these three. Maybe there are some incentives the government can give to the organizations who are taking interns, which today we don't have, right? This will be very, very good for some of the SME sectors where any kind of incentives that government can give, if they are taking interns, it will benefit and encourage the SMEs to take more interns. Yep. So there is lots the government can do to bridge this gap.
Absolutely, yes. So I'll quickly summarize the entire discussion. I heard from all of you, I'll just give a quick summary for the benefit of the audience, the students, in terms of their attitude, they should be open-minded and they should be confident, and they should try to get as many hackathons as possible, as many certifications as possible, and they should be able to apply their knowledge. And internships as a path to employability is one very such good channel that you guys can have, the students. And then, as Dr. Govardhan said, training, mentoring, and adapting is the way to go for you as a students. You should be prepared minds. You should have the broad skills, and you are learning the foundation from the colleges, and you apply that to the real life problems. Develop some social skills, develop corporate skills, and so on. So that is for the students' perspective. From the TPO's perspective, from the college's perspective, please be aware that profound changes are happening in the industry, in the way they are hiring and the way they are expecting things, the way they are aligning their internal processes. The hiring processes are being changed from marks-based systems to hackathon-based systems to evaluate the individuals, and the hiring from campus-based hiring to an individual-based hiring, app-based hiring, and then subsequently digital transformation is happening all the way through. So the institutions have to adapt themselves to these digital transformation challenges that are being pervasive in the industry, whether it is in terms of learning systems, learning management systems, or whether it is adopting the 21st century technologies. And the curriculum should recognize those things, that the curriculum should move towards practice-based curriculum rather than just subject-based curriculum. And as Prakash alluded to, the delivery mechanism is most important. The fundamentals are being given, but how they are being delivered. Amazon was a great example how software engineering in real life is observed. And as Manisha said, the right brain thinking, be a leader, not a follower, and develop soft skills, the team skills, and prepare yourself for the 21st century challenges. So these are the broad contours of and the outline of this panel discussion. I hope every one of you have enjoyed it. And if you have any questions, feel free to send it to the emails. There are several emails. Maybe Nirja can put in a chat box, and I will try to answer those questions. And also I will try to get the panelists answer those questions. Nirja, maybe you can put a contact information ID on the chat box. And my sincere gratitude and thanks to all my esteemed panelists, Dr. Govardhan, Dr. Prakash, Vinay, and Manisha. Really valuable time, really valuable insights that you provided to all of our audience. And I really thanks for the time that you spent. And Shashank, thank you so much for providing this opportunity to our students and also our HYSEA member companies through your platform. And thanks to everyone. And I hope you had value from this panel discussion.
Shesha, you can't so quickly close the panel discussion. I want to say sincere, heartfelt thanks to HYSEA and Shesha for creating this platform and bringing the students and the organizations together and enabling internship. I'm aware of how difficult it is to get internship, and this channel, this platform is extremely important intervention that you are working on, Shesha. My heartfelt thanks and all the best to you. May you give internship to thousands and thousands of deserving students through this channel.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Sesha and HYSEA. All the best.
Thank you. And back to you, Nirja.
Thank you, Shesha. Thank you. It was indeed a captivating discussion. And even I came to know a lot of friends, new friends in hiring that giants like TechM and Infi are following now. I'm sure students would have benefited a lot. Thank you so much. Thank you, Vinay. Thank you, Prakash. Thank you, Govardhan, sir. Manisha, thank you. May I now request Mr. Prashant Anandela, Secretary HYSEA and President and COO First Source, to share his thoughts on the internship fair.
Thanks, Nirja. I think I'm standing between an esteemed speaker, VLK, and the panel. I think fantastic job from the panel. I'd like to keep it brief. Firstly, I think, we spoke about this in a bit. I think the panel alluded to it. Knowledge to skill is very important, and the different ways that you get to skill, which is to sort of, you have knowledge proficiency, then you apply knowledge, you get the skill and sort of deliver outcomes, right, essentially. So I think the internships is one of the avenues through which you can convert your knowledge and at various efficiency levels into skills. So it's a great route that can enable students to display their skills and get recognized by organizations and eventually get absorbed into organizations who are participating in this program. So firstly, I think this is a great initiative jointly between Condura, Task, and HYSEA and JNTU to assemble the the internship fair for 2021. in an environment where there is a serious requirement of talent, as we look at today, right, which Vinay and everybody else alluded to. Thanks, Asia, for pioneering several initiatives, and this is one of them that you're doing in the Industry Academia Forum. I think it's going to equally benefit the academia, the industry, as well as students who are participating across the various stream of things. This program is it's quite unique for us, and it's a pioneering effect because it's going to be a digital internship program where we are creating a digital platform over which we are sort of connecting as a marketplace, the organizations and students together who can participate over a 4-week period and display their skills and eventually get absorbed into organizations which feel, which have this requirement, right? So it's a very unique way of trying things in our remote distributed model that we are all going to today. I think this is the need of the hour, and we've enabled this through Quandura and other partnerships that we have bridged. HYSEA by and large has been focusing pretty significantly on making sure that we're creating programs and platforms that enable employability and job creation, which pretty much in Hyderabad, and we have people across the globe who are joining various opportunities in Hyderabad, and we've done several of them. We did design hackathons, Sesha, which you launched some time back. We did a variety of job fairs through various partners that we sort of launched. We did e-tech series where we picked up emerging education concepts and new trends in business, and we got people to participate to our TV5 series where we sort of engaged. And clearly, this is culminating to the end of it, right? To creating one more stream where our internship fair is one of our latest efforts in getting people connected. So I'm really confident in today's need of both students and academia and industry. I think we're going to create a great ecosystem where we can create opportunities for thousands and thousands of individuals who will get absorbed. Also, I think this is a very seminal part in what we're trying to do, primarily because with gig workforce and everything that's happening and the whole assessment modules changing from interview-based to more platform-based, leaderboard-based and selection process, I think we are exposing people to this very early in their life. And I think, there was a question on first year, can we participate? There's no harm trying, right? The more you try, the more exposed you get. So I think eventually people will start adapting this and hackathons, and this is going to be part of our life going forward. So I think we're very excited as HYSEA to contribute to the society and creating this bridge. I just thought I'll cover these 2 points. Thanks again for the job, Shesha, and the esteemed panel. And Nija, back to you before you introduce VLK and get him rolling. Yeah, then Nija.
Yeah, thank you, Prashant. Thank you. So before we invite our chief guest for today, Mr. V. Lakshmikant, it is my privilege to give a brief introduction. Mr. Lakshmikant is a managing director of Broadridge Financial Solutions, a leading provider of investor communications and technology-driven solutions for broker-dealers, banks, mutual funds, and corporate issuers globally. At Broadridge, he is responsible for delivery of product development and operations from its India-based centers across investor communications and securities processing solutions businesses. His leadership spans execution, product and technical innovation, and business strategy. Prior to the spin-off of Broadridge from ADP, he was part of the executive leadership team of ADP India since 1999. VLK is a pioneer in the global delivery model in India, having established and run multiple companies over 3 decades, such as ADP India, D. Shaw India, and Intergraph India. He is an active member of industry and academic forums. He is the chair of the NASSCOM Hyderabad Regional Council and the NASSCOM GIC Forum Hyderabad Chapter, past chairman of AmCham Hyderabad Chapter, member of HYSEA, member of CISI India Advisory Committee, member of the Advisory Committee for the Geetham FinTech University, and member of Board of Studies of Narsi Monji Institute of Management Studies. It's a pleasure to welcome you, VLK. Over to you.
Hey, thanks, Neeraja. That was fairly unnecessary. We should have probably made it shorter. Maybe next time I don't need my voice.
For the benefit of the students who have joined for the first time.
very interestingly, I noticed that we had about 227, participants in the panel discussion, and it kind of dropped to 150. So I guess moment you said that I was going to talk, maybe 70 people dropped off. So
No.
yeah. Yeah. So I think, I honestly, the panel discussion was extremely engaging, very relevant, very thoughtful. And so honestly, it's really nothing much to add to what the panel said. Okay. So first of all, I want to give kudos to the panel for having covered this topic so eloquently. Also want to thank HYSEA for having me here today, and also a great initiative. Very happy to be associated with HYSEA as one of the patrons. Also happy to be associated with the internship initiative. So thanks to Shesha's leadership, Shashank's leadership out here. Thank you, really, magnificent. What I want to probably talk is a little more maybe futuristic. I don't know how relevant it is and how interested people are going to be, but maybe I'll just put it out there, okay? And maybe I will echo a lot of what Dr. Prakash said. So maybe it's a kind of a repeat, okay? So one of the things I was just thinking is the way we look at software development, right? I think we need to really think of it more as a craft than an engineering skill. Meaning, the reason I say that is there is a difference between a 1x programmer and a 10x programmer. Okay, and we know it. We know intuitively why somebody is a 10x programmer, and the difference is the way they approach their craft. Okay, and I call this craftsmanship. So I think one of the messages I really want to say is I think both for the academia and the student and the industry, may not be as much for the industry because we would love to have the craftsman in anyway. More for the student and the academia, you need to start to think of yourself as a craftsman. Okay, and and in the there are many other you could say disciplines / industry where they have a very strong apprenticeship program. Okay. Typically apprenticeship program is a multi-year program where you work under a master, and after some time you acquire mastery of your subject, so to speak. Okay, and I think that's very important. Maybe one of the things we should look at is how can we move the whole thinking from internship to apprenticeship. Can there be the academic year finishes 2 years and then 2 years of actually apprenticeship, okay, and then you get into the world. So. The reason I kind of say it is today, unfortunately, because we need everything today, right? We need the student coming perfect out of the college. We need him productive from day one. We need to deliver. So everything is about speed, and in that process, I think we have lost the essence of what we're looking for. Okay, the industry today is looking for skills and very specifically tools. Actually, we get to the level of, do you know Java version 2.3.4? Okay, to me it's ridiculous. Okay, and I think that unfortunately there's also client demand. The client has built a platform on a certain stack. He wants people readily trained on that particular stack, on that particular version, or whatever it is. And so we're trying to get people more not even on skills. I would say it is more on tools. How well do you know a tool? Okay. And to me, there is a difference between, let's say a driver, a mechanic, and an engineer of a car. Okay. And more, we're all just looking for drivers. Okay. And, we need to really think about, what we're doing from an industry perspective. Because on one hand, if we wish to be the industry leader, I think it's not just by numbers, which is a great thing from an employment perspective, etc. But the longevity of the industry is going to be depending on the value we're going to bring to the table. And the value is going to get created provided you have engineers or craftsmen, okay, not just the mechanics and the drivers. So I think the industry needs to change its mindset on how we're looking at it. And the students also need to change their mindset about what they want to be. Do you want to be a driver? Do you want to be a mechanic? Or do you want to be an engineer? Okay. And I think you should go, I would obviously say go towards engineering, because that is, and this is where, what, Dr. Prakash said is very relevant, because while everything has changed, nothing has also changed. And it's always about, I think, the fundamentals. And as long as you're strong on your fundamentals, your ability to be able to learn, a tool or a technique is there. Okay? It's like this, once it's like, once you know how to swim or how to fish, it really doesn't matter what fish you catch, right? So very important for us to really think of it from that perspective, the fundamentals. And this is where I really want to talk about this craftsmanship. and as we call it. Okay, and I think where the challenge is right. To me, there are two challenges in building a great software career and looking for great things. Okay, to me, software development is almost like writing an English essay, right? Typically, what do? You write it, and then you look at it, you revise it, you get feedback, you rewrite. Okay, then you iterate until it becomes a world-class product. So that's typically how you kind of do any writing, right? And I think software is no different. Okay, and lots of times we always talk of software as writing code. My submission is software is about reading code, not writing code. Okay, because it's not often that you go and keep on writing code. Quite often you get to an organization, you already there's millions of code, you're reading code. Okay, so very important for you to be able to read code. Okay, and I think this is where the loop is very important. Meaning, and this is where I think the academia struggle, and also to some extent the industry struggle. And this is the so today we have students, they're ready to write code. Okay, that feedback loop of review and giving them that feedback which can make them better is where we're all weak at, because either we don't have the number of people to do that, nor do we have the expertise. Okay, and because of that, students remain in that loop. Meaning, most students write maybe a 100-line program or a 200-line program, and that's the end of the world. They think that's the end of the world. But once you come to an organization is all about conquering complexity. It's about problem is all about problem decomposition. Okay, and that's not taught. And that's a vital skill. If you're going to be able to succeed in a large engineering setup, okay, your ability to decompose problems, which means that you really have to think. You call it design thinking, whatever it is. You really have to figure out how you're going to break that problem down. Your ability to visualize it, okay, because software is also about visualization. Okay, and it's very important. So, in my opinion, I think as academia, they need to change the curriculum, and if not the curriculum, they need to probably do something that a student who comes in on day one or day into the college is put on a project. And over the course of 4 years, he's built something substantial. Okay, I used to have a benchmark that if you have not written 20,000 lines of code, you are not good enough even for an interview. And this is probably 20 years ago. Now it's no longer relevant. Okay, if I ask somebody if you have written 2,000 lines of code, that itself is huge. Okay, forget about 20,000 lines. Okay, so see, it's all practice. End of the day, you get better if you practice. And I think the academia, the colleges can actually provide that, which is somebody starts off, continues to build a product, okay, or a project, which grows, and over a period of time, they build it in teams. And he is now working on a 100,000 line code of project. Then when he comes into an organization, he really knows what complexity is. Okay, and I think that will be a big change if it is done. And I think this is where potentially industry could help. That is where a feedback loop is where the industry should participate in. Industry should not participate in giving some tools, training, etc. Because internship and apprenticeship is about learning from somebody. And what is the learning? Is the feedback loop. How good is your code? Okay, what can you do to make it better? Have you actually decomposed your problem better? I think those are the questions that the student should ask, and those are the questions that the industry should be able to answer. I know it's a tall ask and a tall order, because see, it almost needs a 1:1. If you get one intern or maybe two interns, you need one senior guy even to look at that piece of code. Okay, so but that's how you want to get quality products out. Okay, at the end of the day. So my submission is that I think we really need to relook at the whole thing. I think apprenticeship is potentially a way to go. I think fundamentals are important, and software engineering is all about get feedback, rewrite. Okay, and as long as we can look at that loop and and intervene at the get feedback loop, and the colleges look at building something complex and the students can work on when they come to it's not about today the curriculum changes and the college will say, and I see a lot of questions, what do I need to learn, what tool do I need to learn? It's not about that. Okay, if the colleges can really build something and the student is associated with from day 1 to day 10 or whatever until he passes out, and he does something substantial, you'll find fantastic products out. Okay. So that's essentially what I wanted to say. And in life, and I think I'll give you my one story. This is a story of 1996, 97. Okay. That time I was part of the DE Shaw here in India, and we had gone to a college in Pune, VGIT, I still remember it. And same issues, right? We used to look at the marks. Anybody less than whatever 90 from his birth date, kindergarten score, we would not shortlist. Okay. And we shortlisted some 20 people or 10 people, I think, for the test. There's one guy, his name is Jamshed Jamkewala. I'm still in touch with him. Okay. He was like in the 50s. Okay, his score was 50. There's no way we're going to shortlist him. But he kept bugging me in the college. He just kept bugging. He came after my blood. He was like, no, I am good. I know, da, da, da. He said, I'm talking like, he said, I have my own computer at home. I build it, I write, I do it. I've done something. Finally, I relented and I allowed him to take the test. And he was a topper. Okay, we recruited him. This was against our so-called policies of anybody who was a second class, we don't recruit. We recruited him. Outstanding programmer, one of the most fantastic guys. And today he's something like a principal engineer or something at Microsoft in Seattle. Okay, so these things happen. In the sense, I think the way we need to be open about the fact that we need to make the exceptions. And we need to hire people who really are doing work that is right, get feedback and rewrite. Okay, so that's my submission, and I do hope that somebody at least listens to it. And I don't know whether it's possible, but I think time for us to really look at internship, move it to apprenticeship. Time for us to really get students to build something substantial before they come. They should be proud of it. See, otherwise, what's happening today is like, it's like correspondence course, almost. Okay. There used to be the joke, right? That somebody learned car driving using correspondence course. and the end results. So we really want somebody to have driven the car for 100,000 hours before you make him a pilot. Okay. So thank you all for having me here. Wonderful event, and I wish all of you the very best. Thanks to HYSEA for organizing this. It's a great initiative, and I don't think there are too many organizations in the country which are leading such an initiative. And again, hats off to HYSEA. Okay, HYSEA, I think, is the first organization which is dedicated to software. Even it's almost as old as NASCOM, if not. And I still remember, Shakti and people leading that in those times. So great memories of this organization, and I think it will continue to be leading edge. So thank you all, and wish you the very best. Have a great day.
Thank you, VLK. I'm sure all those who stayed back to listen to you will definitely benefit. I think they would have learned something new. Yeah, thank you so much. May I now request Shashank, CEO and founder of Conjura Online, to propose the vote of thanks. Thank you, VLK. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Neeraja. Firstly, it's a privilege to be here proposing the vote of thanks amongst the sea of dignitaries. People coming in with loads and loads of experience, tons and tons of stories of having actually been in the trench lines and really having gotten their hands dirty, both from the industry side and from the academia side. Particularly, I would like to take this opportunity to thank VLK, sir. The feedback loop, whatever you were speaking about, is something which is very, very, very relevant. And students being able to understand the complexity of code. What you mentioned about 20,000 lines of code, and the concept of an ongoing project where kids can come in. Probably the final year students have started something. The subsequent, graduating batches going ahead with the project, so that maybe the third batch of the student might actually have 100,000 code base, is something I think very, very, very powerful point. And I'm sure our audiences today here, consisting of students as well as training and placement officers, would really appreciate this kind of inputs. Thank you, sir, once again for taking out time, being here with us today, and sharing your valuable inputs. But of course, the Thanksgiving cannot stop here alone. We have had a fantastic session, a very engaging panel session, and I would like all the members of the panel session, Ms. Manisha, Mr. Vinay, Mr. Prakash, as well as Dr. Govardhan, for being kind enough to take out time on a weekend, from the busy schedules, being here with us and sharing the kind of dilemmas that confront both the industry as well as the academia. This is a point that we keep speaking about at multiple times, the skill gap, but actually being able to provide concrete solutions to narrowing the skills gap is what HYSEA believes in, unlocking the potential of the next generations. And whatever comments that have been made, whatever pointers that have been given, have been extremely valid and relevant in the current context of things. And I should also probably now at a personal level thank HYSEA for giving us this opportunity to partner along with HYSEA in this fantastic initiative. And I would certainly want to thank HYSEA specifically for championing this concept of digital internships. VLK sir was speaking about how we should move from internships to apprenticeships. And this digital internship, a 4-week engagement between the company and the student in an online manner, in a scalable manner, in a way where there's also a contribution back to the student, student community. The kind of feedback that VLK sir was mentioning about, I think being able to champion this kind of a new format is truly refreshing. Seeing an organization as old as HYSEA staying at the front of the cutting edge recruitment processes, as well as the entire industry academia synergies being brought together, I think is phenomenal. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank the Industry Academia Forum as well as HYSEA to pioneer to champion this entire efforts. We have had multiple people, including Raj, etc., who have taken out time, spent half an hour every day for the last 1 month in trying, making sure that this activity lives up to the expectation of both the industry as well as academia. It's obviously a very strong belief that nothing great can be built in a day. And it has taken us a long time to reach where we are, where we are today. And I really hope that the subsequent screening process and eventually companies being able to identify the right fit candidates and candidates being able to reach their aspirational companies will probably happen over the course of the next, 2 to 3 week period. Let me also take this opportunity to thank all the sponsors of HYSEA, including the industry patrons that include Broadridge as well as FirstSource. The ecosystem partners that include Capital Land, ICICI Bank, and NSL Infratech, as well as GMR Business Park. The hospitality partner, Hyderabad International Convention Center. Thank you for all the support, being here in front of the audiences, being behind the curtains. Without all of the people involved, whatever HYSEA, Condura has attempted to do is just not feasible. And the most important set of people that definitely need to be thanked are the two partners. In addition to Condura, we had JNTU Hyderabad as well as TASK. We really missed Mr. Srikanth Sinha here. His presence would have probably added more glitter to this fantastic inaugural that we have had. But we really missed your presence here today, sir. But having said that, JNTU Hyderabad and TASK have been probably the principal reasons in terms of taking this initiative to the final consumer, who is the student. And without their support, the outreach would not have just been possible. So all the people, whose names I might have taken, whose names I might not have been able to include in this short, word of thanks, whatever we are doing today would not have been possible without, the efforts of every single person at HYSEA, at JNTU Hyderabad, at TASK, and all the dignitaries here who have, made this event all the much more valuable for all the, participating audiences. And yes, thank you, audience. The TPOs from various colleges who have taken out time, who are here with us, who have interacted with the panel, the students who have put up a lot of questions. We could sense the kind of excitement and energy that you have towards taking up these internships. Thank you all once again for your time. And yes, of course, Neeraja, without your anchoring here today, as well as over the last 1 month, 1.5 months, I'm sure we would not have been at a place where we are today. So Srini, and all the others at HYSEA management committee members, yes, thank you for giving us, Condira, this opportunity to partner with you. And we really look forward to having a fantastic event over the next 3 weeks. Thank you, Neeraja. Back to you.
Oh, thank you. I think I picked the right person for the vote of thanks. Nobody could have done vote of thanks better than you, Shashank. Thank you so much. Thank you to Condira.
Before we close, I have one comment for the audience.
Sure.
So the audience, there are many students, and I have been just observing the chat just now. There were several questions regarding registrations, and for those, the TPOs and the students, we have extended the registration deadline based on several requests from many TPOs. And if you have any difficulty registering, please feel free to reach out to the respective emails and the phone numbers that were already shared earlier. And I think Neeraja has posted the email or the phone number that you can reach out to if you have any problem. Or you can also reach JNTU, UIIC, or CPU. Please remember those names. You are very familiar with UIIC. You can reach out to UIIC, or you can reach out to CPU, College Placement Umbrella, which we're all working together to get as many registrations as possible from the students. So it is extended by a few more days. So please go. You can also go to JNTU website. You can find on the bulletin board the link where you can register, and or you can reach out to UIIC. But please do make this opportunity. Make use of it. There are now almost 1,000 internships that are available, and so you have a great opportunity ahead of you. Please make use of it. Thank you. Neeraja, back to you.
I think we're done for the day, Shisha. Thank you so much. Thank you to you. Thank you, thank you once again. I don't want to repeat the vote of thanks, but thank you once again, everybody. Just like Shashank said, it wouldn't be possible without all the contributions. JNTU, TASK, HYSEA, Condira, so many people working behind the back. I hope students benefit from this initiative. Thank you once again. Thank you all.
Thank you, VLK, Vinay, Dr. Govardhan, for giving your Saturday to us. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
That's the most important thing. Thank you for sparing the 1.5 hours on a Saturday for us. Thank you so much for that.
No, take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.